What's going on, guys? It's the Money Talk Show with Dane, where we talk about all sorts of interesting topics having to do with money. So if those are topics that interest you, please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Corey as well. We're putting out all sorts of cool content where our hope is to be the bridge between some of those of you that may have a background like us, where maybe you've been an entrepreneur, an investor, and some other forms or fashions over a period of time, and you've seen crypto, you want to get a piece of the action, but you just don't know how to do it correctly, how to jump in, or you want a community where we've got a lot of other members that you would probably connect with, associate with, and we are building an absolute freaking monster. So if you want information about that, feel free to comment on this video, and me and Corey can DM you, or find us on other social platforms. We're happy to chat with you there. Corey, go ahead and
What's up?
talk about
Yeah,
yourself.
man. Corey Geary with Crypto Millionaires. And yeah, just like you said, I've been a real estate entrepreneur for many years, and just gone down the rabbit hole in the crypto space in the last couple of years. I've taken some hard knocks, learned some lessons, but I've done a lot of due diligence, a lot of research, and I've done a lot of learning. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I'm going to continue the journey because I do believe this is where the next great transfer of wealth is going to transpire. And I just want to bring some friends with me, and a lot of real estate people, they get like the investment world because they do so much in the real estate space, and there's more to investing and creating wealth than just real estate. And real estate's done really well for me. Don't get me wrong, I love real estate, and I'm truly blessed to have been a part of my journey in real estate. It's just changed my life completely. It saved my life, actually. I always say real estate saved my life. And I actually have a book coming out hopefully next year. It's called Real Estate Saved My Life. And it really did. So I'll be happy when that comes in. I'll let you guys know. But as far as my next step in my journey for creating legacy wealth, crypto is where it's at. And I'm just excited to bring some friends with me, like I said.
Absolutely. So today we're going to go ahead and focus on Zen. If you guys haven't seen the Zen project, there's some very cool things going on. Corey, this is one that you're more familiar with than with me. Why don't you go ahead and introduce Zen? We'll talk about what they have going on and jump in there.
Let's talk about it for a second. Obviously, I am a Hetzican at heart. I am deep in the Richard Heart ecosystem. That is where I am mainly putting the majority of my money. So we'll just say that. But I do diversify into other projects that I think have good narratives, good product market fit, and that have, that are good projects. Obviously, I'm wearing Paul's Bitcoin shirt. This is another project that I do that I love. That I feel like follows the first principles of crypto. That just has a good narrative, a good community. And Zen's another one, man. And what I really like about this is the barrier of entry to get in is low. In the beginning, it's only 90 days old. When he launched it, you could go and mint for free minus what you pay in gas. So you need to be watching the GWAY if you want to participate in this project, and you want to know what GWAY is. GWAY is basically how much you're going to pay in gas, and you can go to if Etherscan has an actual a section on it where you can go and look what the GWAY is. I like the GWAY to be anywhere for 15 or below if I'm going to consider minting Zen, because I'm going to have to pay for that gas. Every once in a while it gets below 10, and if you see the GWAY below 10, then mint, to your heart is content, because that's an amazing opportunity when we're below 10 on the Ethereum mainnet. So it's just, it's an interesting project. It's created by a guy named Jack Levin, who was Google founder number 21. In the beginning, I was very uncertain about it. I did mint 100 wallets in the very beginning. But I was very uncertain because it's like you had all these bots minting, and people were just like, well, it could just be mint to oblivion and it'll never have any value. But recently, there's been a lot of people just kind of doing analysis on it and determining, because it has actually an 8-year cycle where you can mint basically, and there's an S curve on it on that minting cycle. So all the inflation will be coming out in the beginning, actually. And actually 8% of the inflation's already been minted what they anticipate the total supply. And they anticipate the total supply over the 8-year span to be about 500 trillion, which sounds like a crazy number, right? But there is another crypto we can compare that has gotten 500 trillion that did massive, massive gains in the last bull market. And that's Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu has 500 trillion and it did a massive, serious, massive, I think it was like 20,000x is what it did. It made so many millionaires. Maybe it was insanity. And so, we can kind of compare Zen a little bit to that. Not entirely because it's a totally different project, but if we know Shiba Inu did its massive gains because of its adoption and because of the narrative, which the narrative was just simply a meme coin. Everyone,
Right.
It's a dog coin and everyone loves dogs, and Dogecoin did it first. And then here comes Shiba Inu. Well, we were a dog coin. That's the only narrative. And people bought into it, and man, it went off like crazy, right? And it printed a lot of millionaires, which was really cool. And I feel like Zen, might have the same opportunity because the supply will probably be somewhere the same, except for this one difference. Shiba's Inu supply came out all at once, where Zen supply is coming out over time. And so it'll be interesting to see on how those dynamics play out differently. But in the beginning, like I said, I wasn't very bullish on Zen, but I'm starting to get more and more bullish on it because we're seeing that the supply is more capped than what people were thinking in the beginning. And they're building on it. They're building just all these massive projects to, whether it'll burn Zen or it'll lock Zen up for a longer time period, or there's just, you could put it in an NFT and store it for, whatever, to increase the value of it. It's just, there's a multitude of projects coming out, including Jack Levin. He's coming out with another project, and I think we're anticipating, I was in the Zen chat room just a couple days ago trying to pinpoint when that project's coming out, and they're anticipating, I think it was March or April, I can't remember. I'll have to go back in there and look. And what this project does, it's going to be a reflection token, but not in the reflection token sense of like SafeMoon. It's in the sense where you go to, only way to get this new token, we don't know the name of it yet. The only way to get it is to burn Zen. That's the only way to receive it. Then you'll receive this new token. So, but it's determined how many Zen you burned, and you get put in this. You like to make the analogy of a pie. You get put into this pie, and then depending on how many people come in and get involved, that pie, your share gets lower, right? And so you get put in this pie where every single month you will receive this new token, but determining by how much Zen you have burnt. This new token now, you can also stake. And when you're staking this new token, all this Zen gets burnt by all the community members. A piece of that Zen being burnt will be paid to the staker class of the new token. So you're earning a yield, if you have you, or almost like an APY in Zen by staking the new token, and that's where the reflection comes in. What I like about it is that it's just going to burn massive amounts of Zen. Even recently here, we just had the NFT launch, and the NFT launch, there was two different components. One, you can mint up to 128 wallets in one NFT, meaning you can compete with bots now. And two, there was another higher level NFT where you could burn Zen to basically get a very rare Zen NFT. And we saw Zen price pump. It did like maybe 30 or 50% pump because of the Zen NFT. I anticipate with this new project, we're going to see a pretty good pump out of that. And just removing supply is very bullish for the long run. So that's why I'm starting to get more bullish about it, man. And I just like the idea that you can participate in the project for very cheap. It's a low barrier of entry. Now we don't have to go in there and mint 100 wallets one at a time, trying to keep them all separate. And it was a lot of work, if you remember. And if you wanted to compete with the bots, Now you don't got to do that. You just go in there and mint your NFTs, and it's a lot easier, and you can compete with the bots that way. It's just you got to pay the gas fee. So I think the project's getting some legs. It's got a massive community behind it. I mean, I can't get on Twitter without seeing every other, tweet about Zen, and it's just, I mean,
Seriously.
it's got a community that's building, and the narrative. Remember, crypto is about narrative, guys. If you haven't figured that out, you need to learn that. Whether the narrative is true or not, it's still about narrative. That's all it is. And Zen's narrative is like you can get it for free. Like that's come in, participate in Zen, mint some free wallets, and learn how to transact in DeFi, which is what I really love about it. You learn how to operate in DeFi by doing this, and just pay a little bit of gas. And that is the narrative that why it's blowing up so much, because a lot of people just get in there and mint, whether they mint one free wallet or they mint maybe 10 free wallets. It's catching on like wildfire. And I anticipate in the next bull run, here's something else we're talking about. In the next bull run, the minting will die down because the GUI is going to shoot through the roof like it always has done. When the GUI gets over 20, the minting stops. They have this like mint meter. I don't know if you've seen it. I've seen it on Twitter, and I'll have to find it. Maybe I could post it on my socials. But this mint meter is usually when the GUI hits over 20, minting stops. The free minting stops because it gets too expensive. So what's going to happen in the next bull run when the GUI is always over 20 in Ethereum? We know that's one of the problems Ethereum has. And people stop minting on Ethereum, and you still have all this adoption coming to Zen and these new protocols being built. Well, people are going to start market buying it. That's the only other way to get it. And when they start market buying it, it's going to push the price up. And I anticipate, a good pump coming into the next bull run. And if not that, maybe the one after. It could be a 2 market cycle, because like I said, the inflation's coming out over 8 years. Over the span of 8 years, and after 8 years, and the inflation dies down to like virtually none. So it might be a 2 markets coin, but if not, maybe with the GUI pumping up, the next bull run, we see the minting stop, people start buying it, especially with all the protocols being built on it. So that's kind of Zen. I know I went off. That was a lot to there. If you want to unpack some of that and kind of simplify it for some people, you're great at doing that.
Do you think that Zen is a good token to buy on the market?
Absolutely not. Thank you. Do not buy Zen. You will get wrecked, especially right now, because right now we're in the highest inflation stage. People are still minting wallets, and the majority of people who are minting right now are just market selling it. They go mint it. Say they mint it for, a month, and then in that 30 days they get their mint. They're market dumping it, and then rinsing and repeating, especially if they make a little bit of any kind of profit whatsoever. People are market dumping it. And so what's going to happen is if you buy at today's price, a month from now, since we're having downward pressure, though, this whole beginning of the inflation, we're going to have downward pressure. A month from now, we're going to be at a lower price, so you're going to be at a loss. So no matter what time you buy right now, you will be at a loss. Now, the only time it might make sense to buy Zen is in the beginning of the next bull market, when you see GUI out of control again. Now, the only time it even makes sense, and I don't even know if that would make sense for me, because I'm going to just be constantly minting during this bear market that we're in, building up that bag for the next bull market. So I don't have to buy any. I don't want to buy it. That's ideal. That's what's so great about the project. Don't buy Zen off the market right now. I promise you, you will get wrecked. I was in the Telegram the other night, and there was a great conversation. And the guy comes in there, and he's just livid because he spent $50K buying it off the market, and in 2 days he was wrecked. It was down to like the value of like $4K, and so he was just absolutely livid, yelling at everyone in there. And we're like, it's just community members in there. Even Jack Levin wasn't in there. All the community members like, man, you should have done your own due diligence and seen that you shouldn't be buying this right now. And there's a guy in there by the name of Jack of Hearts, and I like the guy. He's a really smart dude, and he talks about how Zen really shouldn't even be on a secondary market right now. Like if there was some way to not have it on the secondary market, that would be ideal to keep people from getting wrecked. But there's just no way you can do that. And so, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Don't buy it. Mint it.
Yeah. Mint
and
it.
If you mint it, go in there and look at your GUI. If your GUI is around 15 or under, mint to your heart's content. That's my recommendation, not advice. It's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Sure.
So
I like this comment. It says GUI already out of control IMO. I agree. Like it's interesting to see it in the bear market, even now, like GUI, and which essentially equates to gas cost, is somewhat expensive. And for those of you that don't know, your gas fee and your GUI, we're talking about a lot of crypto terms here. Every time that you go and you use the blockchain, you pay a small fee in what's called a gas fee. It's kind of like going to the bank, and some of these big national banks like Wells Fargo, for instance, if you go, every time you send a wire or you create a new account or you get counter checks that you use, you pay a small fee each time to use their services. The blockchain is similar in that respect. And then each time you go and you do something on the blockchain, you're going to pay a gas fee. And based on the GUI, if you will, that determines the cost of the gas at any given time. So the lower the GUI, the cheaper it is to interact on the blockchain. The higher, the more expensive it is. And generally speaking, the reason that it gets more expensive to interact on the blockchain is because people are utilizing it. When there's a lot of people utilizing it and there's more demand, then prices goes up for gas. When it's less congested, then price down. And so a tip to try to catch it at better times, in my experience, has been to interact with a blockchain on the weekends. Particularly Sunday seems to be a really good day where your cost for gas for something like Zen, where you're just minting it and you're paying gas, you get a better deal. So that's how I've kind of managed it better, and that's gone well. There's some other tricks to the trade where if you want to, push out if you want to transact at a slower rate, you can get a better price. But for me, like, I'd rather just get in, be done with it. I'm all right paying a little bit more if that's what is required, and mint my Zen and move on. So yeah, let's unpack it a little bit. So Zen, once again, is a project where it was built to be like Bitcoin in the early days. So Bitcoin, you could mine it on your own personal computer. You could get 50 freaking Bitcoin on each block, I think is what Richard was saying. Is that right?
That's right. 50
okay. Which is crazy because, I mean, today Bitcoin is hovering around 15, 16,000. So you do the math, 50 coins times 15, 16,000 is pretty nuts. So this is the same, where Zen, you can come and you can participate by, rather than paying a fortune for Bitcoin today, you can participate like the early Bitcoiners and you can mint your Zen and theoretically get quite a bit of it early on now. And so there's very little cost to it, at least if you're minting. And it's an opportunity, like Corey already said, to get involved in something that's DeFi, which stands for decentralized finance. You can come, and this is a low barrier of entry where you can test out transacting, you can test out using the blockchain with really very little at stake other than a small gas fee. So it's cool. It has its use case. Once again, I'm with Corey. I would not buy this on the market. Absolutely not. If you want to participate, in my opinion, once again, nothing we give or share here is financial advice, but for us, we are only minting. That's the only way to participate. And if it works out, great. If not, like, we didn't bet heavy because we aren't buying it off the market. And so when you go and you mint, once again, this is where you're like mining Bitcoin. It's kind of synonymous. When you go and you do this, you could only get, at least in the early days, you could only mint Zen per one wallet. It's like one account per blockchain. You have to create multiple accounts to get multiple Zen wallets and mints and claims, which, long story short, it's just how you get your Zen. And it's a freaking lot of work to go and do hundreds of wallets.
It was a pain, man. When it launched,
and bots and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was sitting there all day long the first day it
Mhm.
launched. And like, can you imagine trying to do that consistently on a consistent basis to keep up with the rest of the world that's
That's
in
a
there?
job, yeah.
Yeah, it's a full-time job now, and it wasn't really worth keeping up on until they launched the NFT version of it, in my opinion.
Right. So let's unpack the NFT version. So if I'm watching the stream and I say, geez, maybe I want to participate in Zen, and you guys are saying that the NFT is an easier way to do this, where minting Zen doesn't need to be a full-time job for me to get my fair share. What does that look like? Like, why would somebody use the NFT instead of creating a bunch of wallets and doing it all manually?
Yeah, mainly ease of use, exactly what it's really made for. And also, you could trade it before your mint is due. So like traditionally right now you have to mint Zan before the NFT, you have to, like you said, you have to go in there and you mint one per wallet. Then if you wanted to do another wallet, you got to go and create another wallet. Like for example, a MetaMask, you can create another wallet, mint again. You have to move your Ethereum gas per wallet to wallet. So you have gas in every single wallet, and it was just painful. And with the NFT now, you can go in there and you go to the exact same place where you mint your Zen before. I think it's Zen. I gotta look Zen.network Pro or something. But you can go in the exact same place where you mint your Zen, and now you have the NFT section. You click on the NFT, connect your wallet, and then you go and you choose how many virtual minting units you want. It's called VMUs, and a VMU is just representing one wallet. And so one wallet's worth of Zen will be minted out of one VMU. And you choose if you want to do 10 VMUs or if you can go all the way up to 128 is what it's currently at. I'm not sure why they capped it at 128, kind of weird to me.
Hmm.
And then you also pick your days just like you would do a normal wallet. You're going to pick how many days out you want to do. You could do the max wherever it's at because those days are the max date is always going further out depending on how many people mint. So you pick your days, how far out you want to go, and you mint your NFT. Now, something to be talked about is that it is the NFT mint on how much it costs in gas will it be determined on how many VMUs you pick. So I did one it was a few days ago. I did 128 wallets. I did one to prepare for the reflection token coming out in 90 days or so. I did one, so I did a short one for 128 wallets, and I spent about $490 on that NFT because I chose 128 VMUs. If I'd have chose like 10 VMUs, maybe it would have cost me, $15 or $20. So it's going to be determined on how many VMUs. So it's going to represent like if you were minting each wallet, the gas cost.
How much did it cost you again?
I do believe I spent a roughly, let's just call $500 for the 128 wallets. Yeah, and
Okay,
that's what
so gas
determines
was
your
about $3.90 per like wallet, if you will, which actually compared to the early days when we were minting these, I mean, gosh, some of the guys that were super early were paying like freaking $10 per wallet instead of $3.90. So it gives you guys perspective on what the cost of gas. I've done some transactions more recently on the blockchain on a Sunday where gas, now this wasn't a Zen transaction, so it's not necessarily apples for apples, but it was $1 or $2 for that transaction. And so once again, Sundays can be a really good time that you can come in and test it. And in our experience, Corey's $3.90 per wallet has been a pretty decent price as far as gas is concerned. So you can use that to help roughly project out what it will cost for you and how many VMUs you want to get if you did want to participate in this project.
And once again, you still need to look at the gas cost because it's going to determine, it's going to calculate on your VMUs to the GUI on how much that NFT is going to cost you. So you still need to, even though you're minting the NFT versus minting the single wallets, look at your gas cost before you go in there and start participating in this. But it just makes it a lot easier. So now we can go in and do it in one transaction, use one wallet to mint that NFT, and you can mint as many NFTs as you want now. And so now in one wallet, you don't have this, minutia of going creating all these multiple wallets and sending all this Ethereum to all these different wallets, and then having to send all this Zen out to go and stake it when you want, when the Zen is minted. You can do this all in one wallet now with these NFTs. And if you were to, say Zen were to start pumping in the next bull market, and you had some of these NFTs that still not, they weren't due yet, right? They weren't, their time wasn't up. And maybe you wanted to sell one on the open market, you could do such a thing because it is an NFT. You can go post it on OpenSea, and if someone maybe at a discount because Gwei went up, and maybe somebody you can exit your position out of that way. So it gives you optionalities, which I'm a big fan of optionalities. I love having optionalities. So it just gives you that extra layer too. So other than that, that's what it is in a nutshell. There's not much more into that. I love it so far. It brought the ease and convenience of using Zen and having and getting a big supply, right, coming out. My goal is to get a bunch coming out when the next bull market hits us, and just seeing what it's worth, and not, like you said, not spending a whole lot of money on it, right? Maybe I'll spend $1,000 or $2,000, but that's about it for me. And then it's like,
Right.
I feel like that was a nice bet. What if it does a 100x, on $1,000? I mean, I'll take it, for a very cheap bet, and we'll see, man. I mean, Shiba Inu did it, and it has so it's always possible. This is crypto. Crypto's crazy, man. And you just want to play some small bets here and there where you feel like it's a good product market fit, and that's it, man. It's fun. So
the other thing that I like about Zen is it checks most of the boxes of things that we like when we're doing due diligence. Yeah. So it checks the box of having a public founder with some sort of track record and history, being an early Google guy. People like that. It's a nice narrative. So I like that piece. It's got a really strong community that freaking loves Zen. They're about it. They live it. They breathe it. That's really important. Coal-like community. The next thing is the fundamentals. And this is the part that's yet to be seen. So it's interesting where, the thing that's fashioned after is Bitcoin, and how you could get, a lot early on for almost nothing. Bitcoin's done very well. And so there is a use case for what they're trying to accomplish. The marketing is really strong. That's our, I think that's 4. The marketing's really strong, which I like. They're talking about it. They're about it. Sounds like Jack's working on deals with like Amazon and some of these other big companies to utilize it. And then the 5th is utility. They have the staking feature, which was original with the project. That's cool. Staking has proven to be very bullish for some other projects. You have the burn function now, which is really cool. And then people are building on top of it like crazy. There's just the fundamentals surrounding the whole project are really positive. And so it's interesting. I'm excited to be a part of it. And like you said, who knows? It's a smaller bet. So we'll have to see in time.
Take some small bets with it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't go really well, then like we bet small. We don't have a lot to lose. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not going to throw any large number of economic energy towards this. It's just not, for me, it's not my number one. It's just a nice little fun toy I'm playing with in the background. And if something happens with it, great. That was great.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. So
okay, I like it. That was great. And then what do we? So and recap really quick. What do we know about the reflection token? So the only way to obtain it is to burn Zen. What else do we know about it?
We anticipating it's coming out between 90 to 120 days from now. Jack Levin has not given us an exact date, nor is he giving us like the name of it. So all we know is that it'll be coming out soon. We know that that's the only way to receive it is to burn Zen. You can't market buy it. You're not gonna be able to sacrifice.
Not initially.
Not initially. Correct. Correct. There's no ICO, IPO, sacrifice, whatever have you, initial VC. There's no VCs, right? Which we love that. We don't want any VCs in any project. I love sacrifices, but I don't like VC rounds. So there's none of that. You go in, you burn yours in, you'll receive the new reflection token. At that point, obviously, then you could sell it on market. There will be somebody who will create a liquidity pair for the token, I'm sure. And then, yeah, the use case for the token, the new token, is you stake it, and by staking it, you'll receive Zen. So it will pay you in Zen. And how it does that is because a small portion, so people are burning their Zen, they receive this, but a small portion of that will be used to pay the staker class. And so, yeah, and that's it. So we'll see. Oh, it's hard capped. This token will be hard capped at 100 million.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yes, it's hard capped at 100 million. The inflation, the inflation will all happen in the initial. I think he's talking about maybe over a 5-year time span. And the first, obviously, the most of the inflation will come out over the first couple years, and then it'll have an S curve, like like most projects do, and it will taper off over time. But it's hard capped at 100 million. So it's kind of like the opposite of Zen almost, but then like it's there built on top of Zen to burn it up, it's a buy and burn function if you think about it. People will, or maybe people who are preparing minting and burning, but it will eventually turn into a buy and burn type function. And I anticipate this. You probably could even do a buy of the rumor, sell the news on Zen if you wanted to, mint some wallets now, preparing for this when the event happens, and then sell that Zen at a pretty good multiple X's, who knows. But yeah, so that's kind of all we know. He's not said more now. Obviously, it's going to follow the first principles of crypto, meaning no admin keys, immutable, in which we love that.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll see what happens. I went ahead and created an NFT that's like maybe 100 days is what I did. I did 128 wallets. That's the one I was telling you about. It cost me $500. That's all I'm going to do for this project. I'm not going to put any more economic energy in for it. But I'm like, let's do it. And I created one, and it'll come due when the project comes out. Maybe I don't know what day the project's coming out. So like I just kind of guesstimated from what Jack has told us. But even if you miss the first day, it's not going to be a big deal. If you're just getting in on the early days, you're going to be just fine. And I'll mint my Zen, and I'll burn it out of that NFT, that one NFT, and then I'll stake that new reflection token and earn Zen as passive income. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of Zen, so I don't plan to, try to be a shark or a whale or anything like that in this system. This is just to have a little bit of fun with a little bit of money on the side, keep me occupied in the middle of a bear market. So I'm not trying to move numbers or weight around like I do in some other projects. I do get pretty involved, and try to become like a shark or a dolphin or whatever have you. I'll probably be, a minnow in this project.
Sure.
Well, which is fine.
That was a piece that I really disliked about Zen, is that it trains people to be like a pigeon in a study where they're just pecking away to try to get a reward. You've got to mint and mint and mint and mint and mint.
Me too.
Yeah, and crypto, in my opinion, crypto is built for freedom. And this is the opposite of that if you're having to mint and mint and mint and mint. And so I did the same as you, where I've got some wallets, I didn't kill myself over it. If it goes, it goes, and that's great. And I want to qualify, I think this is important. So in projects, in my opinion, so once again, nothing here is ever financial advice. In my opinion, if you're, well, and this is an investment principle in general, whether it be real estate or stocks or bonds or crypto or whatever you may like, it's very rare to be able to find something, make a bet one time, treat it like a lottery ticket, and it sets you free. Once you find what you like, well, then you be professional about it. You invest time and energy and effort to figure it out. And then once you do, at least for me, I make consistent bets over time when pricing is good, in my opinion, and I build my positions over time. And so I've done kind of the opposite here, where like you've said, this is something that's more like kind of for fun. If it goes, it goes. This is something I'm treating a little bit more like a lottery ticket, because I just don't have the desire to be a pigeon to peck and peck and peck and
Yeah.
peck. And so I think
Or
it's important to,
or mint
yeah.
thousands of dollars of NFTs either, right? I'm not going to do that either. You know, I'll mint a few of them and that's it, right? It's the
Well,
same.
I don't think that's the worst idea. If somebody did some
Yeah.
due diligence and they go to the community and they like Jack and they say, hey, like
Yeah.
this is a place that I want to bet on, then by all means, right? Like go and mint to your heart's desires. You could do
That would be
thousands
the
of
way to
dollars
do
of
it.
wallets.
If you wanted to
Yeah.
put a lot of economic energy into the system, that's the way to do it to avoid what you had just talked about, like, you know, sitting there every single day being a pigeon trying to mint a bunch of wallets, which a lot of people did that. A lot of people
Yes.
did. And it deterred me once I minted my like initial 100 wallets. Like I backed out of the system and I was like, okay, well, that's good. That's my little lottery ticket, if you will. And I'm not going to do more until he had not came out with, there was a batch minter also that a third party had built, but it's built by a third party. So there's a little bit of, you know, risk, contract risk on that. And then shortly after that batch minter came out, he came out with the announcement, hey, I'm going to do the NFT. I was like, oh, it's in the protocol. It's part of the protocol. It's his dev team who created the NFT, you know, project. That's what I'm going to use. And that's the way to go. Even if you're right. If you wanted to throw a lot of economic energy at this, it'd be the way to go. But just, you know, mind, you know, the gas, the GUI, when you're doing this, keep it on. I like to keep mine under 15 is ideally what the GUI I like to be under. When I meant, if you could catch it in the 10 area, that's ideal. But it's very rare right now in the Ethereum blockchains in that area. So, but yeah.
Right. And to evaluate your GUI, if you're using, for instance, for me and Corey, we connect our hardware wallet to MetaMask. And when you're doing the transaction, you can go and look in MetaMask, right? Or you can check your GUI. I know there's third-party websites. Or do you check the actual like GUI before you go do a transaction?
Yep, exactly. Ethereum has its own. Let me see if I can pull it up, and we could actually show it. Can I share my screen? Where do I share my screen here? Present.
In the middle there, can you click on present?
Let's
Does it
just
allow
show
you to
this
share?
share screen, and I'll show.
What's up, Bird Dog? Had Bird Dog jump in. He's been one of our more recent followers that's jumped into the shows. Appreciate you jumping on. And any of you guys, I'd love to hear about your experience with Zen. Are you buying it up? Do you feel like it's a scam? I know that Richard Hart talked really negatively about this, largely because Jack came in and presented himself as like a hex believer, and then appears like he essentially vampire attacked the community and took a lot of
I didn't like that
from
either.
Richard.
I didn't really necessarily care for that because the problem is people see the Hexican community as a very strong community, and they want to come and get involved with the community because they know they can get a lot of strong crypto believers out of that community. And so I don't like it. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it now. Real quick, what's
Okay.
up, Justin? Thanks for jumping in, man. He says he's sitting Zen out. I think that's totally fair. And at the end of the day, anytime that somebody's talking about a project, you know, whether we like a project or anyone else for that matter, gosh, like when Corey and I first got into crypto, you're listening to these guys on YouTube telling you to buy these projects, and it felt like they dumped every single time after getting involved on one of those guys. So it's up to you to choose what you get involved in. Make sure that you do your own due diligence before getting involved in any freaking project. If you need help with that type of stuff, we do it every single day in our group. So feel free to comment or send us a DM. We're happy to talk to you about that if it's something that you think might be interesting. Real quick, let's go through some of these. Bird Dog, he commented, he said he minted one wallet on Ethereum and one on Binance. He didn't want to be a pigeon. I'm the same. I didn't want to be a pigeon. That's cool, right. Bird Dog. All right, Corey, go ahead.
So this is not even for just Zen. For anytime you're doing any transactions on the Ethereum blockchain, I don't care what you're doing. If you're buying up a Uniswap, if you're sending tokens to another wallet, if you're minting other NFTs, whatever you're doing on the Ethereum blockchain, you're going to have to pay gas, kind of how you alluded earlier. And that's one lesson that Zen has taught us. He's taught a lot of people is how to respect the blockchain, how to look for the gas. And this is a good place. I'm always keep this up. Is Ethereum, etherscan.io backspace gas tracker. So you guys can see it right here. You see right here, it says low, average, high. This is the GUE that is going over. And this is actually kind of high, especially in the bear market. To me, this is high because we're about the 30 range, a little under 30. Like I said,
And you said you like yours to be around 15 for Zen?
Under 15 or below if I'm going to mint Zen. But even when I do any kind of transactions, man, I always check. If I see it up here in the 30s, I'm going to think twice about my transaction. Unless I'm trying to buy a dip, on Uniswap, and I know that dip might not last long, I might pay the extra GUE because, because I didn't know it's an opportunity cost if I don't go in there and buy that dip. But other than that, if I ever regular everyday stuff, man, come in here and look. And if it's high like this at the 28, 27, maybe wait on your transaction and check it again tonight and see where it's at. And then, like you said, check it on Saturday, see where it's at. Check it on Sunday. If the transaction can wait, then wait. Why pay the extra gas fee? And I mean, I've seen the GUE as high as in the 500s before, especially in a bull market. And, that will cost you hundreds of dollars when you're just trying to buy a token off of Uniswap. So it can get really ridiculous. So this is a great place to just go in. This is right off an Etherscan. So this is real live where the GUE is currently, trading at. So always
scroll down. Yeah, let's see the top gas guzzlers there. Scroll down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So this is an interesting place too. I know Zen is ranked really high up on this top gas guzzler section especially when the project was early on. You can see here a lot of these are like new projects launching, or you can see Uniswap is a big user because it's a decentralized exchange. It has massive volume, and so this is a place where you can come and see another resource to see, hey, is Zen like high up on the list here to help you make a determination of whether it's a good time for you to mint or not.
Yep. And it looks like it's not on here today, probably because people stop minting when the GUE gets over 20. That's typically there's a little chart I can look up, but yeah, there's people stop minting around that area. So I'm not sure what Seaport is. It'd be interesting to know what protocol this is. I'm not familiar, but look, you got Uniswap V3 up here, so people are buying and selling like crazy today. So it's interesting,
right? That is interesting. Cool. Well, that's good. Let's the last thing I want to talk about, let's go ahead and wrap the show up here. So I've seen a ton of really quick, let's bring in bird dogs. The only thing I keep thinking about is, will there be a good market buy at some point to throw a few hundred at and be pretty equal playing ground to those that make 100 wallets? Yeah, I mean, Burn Dog, in our opinion, well, I could speak for myself, then Corey, you can give your opinion. But yeah, I mean, at some point, certainly. I mean, I think it's all but guaranteed that there will be. I just think that at least the way that Zen is currently constructed, Corey had already talked about this, that it's probably quite a ways out, like years, in our opinion, from where we stand right now. And so you could always go and buy some, but the way, at least right now, in our opinion, the best thing is to mint it in order to obtain it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to mint 100 wallets and you're trying to like figure out, you want to throw $100 at it, like market buying it, go and do the NFT. Throw the throw your $100 on the NFT. Wait for the GUE to be low, and that way you're not doing the minutia of minting all those wallets. That's what the NFT's for, is to get rid of that, tedious act of like Dane was saying, pigeon pecking at the blockchain all day long, and that's what it's for. So if you want to throw $100 at it and you were wanting to market buy it, just go mint the NFT with that 100. That'd be my suggestion when the GUE is low. Anywhere I think in the near future whatsoever, or even medium term, buying Zen's going to get you wrecked.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. Well, in fact, that's probably a good place to leave it today. We've got some more stuff we'll talk about. We can talk about next week. If you guys want to, in fact, as we're doing these shows, well, I'll announce this at the start of our next shows, so we get this earlier on. But we love feedback. If there's topics that you guys are wondering about or curious of, one of the best resources that I've really enjoyed is going to Randy Hilarski's show and being able to actually message him on the show and figure some things out, fill in some holes that I'm missing. And so if you guys have topics like that you want us to talk about, then comment on the show. We're happy to share that information, share our insights and feedback. And of course, as we're going through the show, if you have questions or concerns, post those, kind of like you guys have today. This has been great. If you are interested in getting involved in our community and checking out what that's like, if it's a fit for you, great. If not, it's not for everybody. No pressure from us. But if you're looking for more community of people that are responsibly involved in crypto, people that are doing our best to actually tell you the truth, rather than these freaking guys that told you to buy whatever token it may be, to always be buying it, or these guys that think that crypto's dead and it's going to fall apart and you shouldn't buy anything. We're not those guys. We want to get the right information, do the right due diligence, get to the bottom of things, and try to determine to the best of our ability with that information when to be buying things, when to be getting out of them. We're focused on long-term holding. The people that win are the long-term holders, and the founders. We're building positions and portfolios now to hold to the next bull run, and yeah, so it'll be great. So appreciate you guys.
One announcement before we hop off tonight, guys, is the Hex Conference. If you want to watch me and Dane have a 3-5 minute speaking spot there, would love to have you guys come and watch us. So a little shill on the Hex Conference tonight. Matty Allen is the guy who's throwing it. So feel free to subscribe to his channel or go watch us on the Hex Conference tonight. So other than that, yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome. We'll see you guys there.